This episode of the podcast is my interview with German synth-punk band Tonic. While the show primarily focuses on local Winnipeg and Manitoba artists, the reason this band is on the show is because they have a local connection. Two of the Tonic members are former Winnipeggers currently living in Berlin, and their new album, which just came out in April, has actually been released on Winnipeg-based Transistor 66 Records. This was kind of a last-minute interview because they're playing a show tomorrow night, that's Thursday, at the Handsome Daughter, with Agapito and the Sorels, and we managed to meet up in the food court the day before their show. It's a really fun conversation, learn lots of interesting things about the band's international background, about what it's like playing in Germany, what it's like for the Winnipeggers to come back home, and a lot more. Again, this was recorded in the food court, which is never ideal, but usually I'm kind of parked in a back corner of the eating area, which has a hard wall behind it. On this episode, we were kind of stuck in the middle of the food court, and there's a lot of echo going around. The conversation is still very comprehensible. You understand what people are saying, you can hear the voices, but there's definitely some echo, which is not ideal. And again, I'm using my older recorder for this one, because it's more portable to record a lunch hour weekday interview. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our friends at the Park Theatre, Winnipeg's premier concert and event venue. If you want to find out all the great shows they have coming up, go to myparktheatre.com.
You're listening to Garbage Hill, Winnipeg's first podcast network.
Welcome to Witch Police Radio. I'm in the food court again, the second home of the podcast, and I'm with a band that, usually on this show I'm talking to Winnipeg and Manitoba musicians exclusively,
right.
And the band here is definitely not from Manitoba, but there's connections.
Yes.
So I think maybe the best way to get things started is if one of you wants to kind of take the reins here and introduce the group and sort of where you're coming from.
My name is Karen. I play bass in Tonic, and I'm from Winnipeg.
Okay, so you're the local connection.
I'm local, however...
I'm Andrea, I'm the drummer, and I'm also from Winnipeg.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you end up in Germany?
Exactly.
Well, first of all, before we even do that, let's introduce the other two members as well. So,
Yeah, well, I'm Stephanie, and I'm from France, but I live in Berlin, and I'm playing the guitar.
Okay.
I'm Olivier, and I'm from France. I play the synth.
So this is a very international group. Yeah.
We like
French-Canadian?
We like to joke that we're French-Canadian.
Yeah. Canadian and French, I guess it works.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the better.
So how did you end up in Berlin, right? Is that where you're coming from?
Yes. So Karen here again. I've lived in Berlin for 10 years, and I was just traveling and ended up staying there, and started playing music there. Yeah.
And I've been back and forth in Europe for the last decade, and I chose Berlin mostly because of the music scene, also because I'm a photographer.
Okay.
Mostly a concert photographer. Yeah, and I'd played in bands before in Winnipeg, and Karen got me a job when I first came to Berlin and mentioned that she needed a drummer.
Did you know each other beforehand, or?
Not vaguely.
Vaguely through mutual friends, and we met once in Vancouver, incidentally, at a Turbo Negro concert, 2007 or something.
And I remember thinking she was the coolest thing.
Oh,
She didn't.
Yeah. Things have changed.
Yeah.
So then, that helped out. We played in another band together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crossing over to Stephanie then, who's from France, and she and I also played in another band together, having met in Berlin.
Sure.
And then there's this guy.
And Olivier. We don't really know how we met him.
Yeah.
You just kind of showed up?
Yeah.
But yeah, basically it's like the music scene that's brought us together.
Sure.
Yeah.
In many different ways.
And it's been like just about 2 years now. 2.5 years we're playing together?
3 years.
3 years?
Even more, like our first show is 3 years ago.
3 years ago, geez, I don't know what's going on.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I guess what is it like being a band of people who are from different places in a third place, right? You have the two countries represented, and then you're
A lot of miscommunication.
I imagine, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, in Berlin, that's not so unusual because Berlin right now is a very international.
Right, that makes sense, yeah.
So it's like we're just a dime a dozen with this. Like usually you try to have at least one German member in your band, but we don't. Yeah, no, do you? Yeah, no, we don't. So, but yeah, we're not that. It's not that unusual in Berlin. Yeah.
What is the? I mean, just because I focus so much on the Winnipeg music scene here, I have no concept of what the scene is like in Berlin. I imagine it's a big city. I imagine there's a lot going on artistically, but
how different is it?
And well, it's
Berlin and Winnipeg.
well, I mean, there's. I don't know. I haven't lived in Winnipeg for 15 years, but I think Berlin. There's a mixed bag. Like there's a lot of scenes. Obviously, Germans are known for techno and electronic, so there's that scene is very strong. But then there's I think there's kind of a mixed bag of everything, and we try to get around as much as we can, but you end up playing the same places.
It's the same with anywhere, right?
Exactly.
And there's not so many scenes for Berlin. There's more scenes for Berlin. There are not that many. But there's not that many. In the end, like you see, like the supports, like the band doing support shows, it's always kind of the same.
The same, That happens here too, right? It happens anywhere.
And you get lumped in. It used to be just if you were like girls and there was another female band coming through there, or I say girls now, women.
But they did stick you on the
just
bill.
Like lump you on the bill, and now we do. If somebody has a synth, they're like, "Hey, you should play together." So
I guess how did the synth? Do you call it synth punk? Is that sort of the name you are using for it? Or?
We got a synth and we're loud
and we're
fast and loud. Yeah, that works.
It's also kind of fitting that we're doing this interview here because we jokingly called ourselves cafeteria punk.
Yeah, when we couldn't think of another.
It was our first costume. We looked like we were
working in a cafeteria.
Okay, nice. So are there a lot of other bands though that or maybe before we even get to that, who would you say that this group is influenced by? That maybe is there like a communal influence?
4 letters. The D and the O.
Okay. we love Devo. We were big and so that's.
I can see that.
We wear costumes. That's a big part of. We're on our 3rd costume right now.
Nice.
Since our start, and we still mix them up. We play them all at different times, and so Devo is a big inspiration also just for.
Sonically, I guess too, right?
Yeah, because it's fun, humor. We also like the Spits a lot. Like we were playing in more of Stephanie and I before were playing kind of a garage psychedelic band, and we wanted to step it up and be a little bit more wild. I don't know.
Okay. And how has it gone over here? I mean, have you had feedback from back home? I guess if you want to call that.
Andrea.
I mean, I started to laugh because there's a bigger population in Berlin, and for other European shows, we're used to playing in front of a bit bigger crowds. Mm-hmm. It's been harder in Canada to get the same kind of attendance.
Mm-hmm. So far,
Is that just population based or just on the style you play?
I think it's just us. They're like, who the hell is this band? Like in Toronto, Montreal, it was small turnouts. There was also the Raptors game to factor in. We were competing with some pretty heavy stuff. In Sudbury, we had a small turnout, and they said because everybody went fishing.
Okay.
Oh, I should have mentioned Sudbury. Never mind. But we've had positive. Actually, all the shows have been great in terms of the crowd. Maybe not the size, but the response.
People seem to really like it.
That's cool.
Usually we make more money at the merch
than with our fee.
Well, that's not bad
that's
too.
Always that's positive.
So how long are you in Canada for? How long is this?
2 weeks, pretty much. Touring.
Our last show is on June 28th in Vancouver.
Okay.
So started in Toronto and we'll head all the way to Vancouver.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then you have a record that just came out, or
Yeah, pretty much.
In April. Okay.
We toured Europe already with it, and so this is like the official.
The Canadian.
But
cool.
we have a label in Winnipeg.
With Transistor 66. So how did I'm assuming one of you had that connection, or?
Both Karen and I, we have friends that know Art from Transistor, and my friend JP set us up with an interview with Art, and we got to meet him, and he's amazing.
He's a cool guy.
He's been such a great support to the
lovely gem of the earth. Art Transistor. So and then we have 2 labels, and the other one is in France. So cool. I guess we'll have to try France sometime too. But we're like, no, let's go all the way to Canada first. That makes way more sense.
So I mean, that label is kind of notorious for sort of being a very tight-knit family of bands. Has that helped you, or do you think that'll help you in the future? Do you expect any of those bands to come over and play in Europe?
See. I mean, I've already noticed just through Facebook because Art is doing such a great job promoting. I've already noticed kind of some band love coming from the other bands on his label coming towards us. So that's cool. And I'm hoping to. I haven't lived in Winnipeg Winnipeg for 15 years, so I'm sure I know some people, but I'm excited to meet a bunch of them tomorrow night.
Well, your timing has worked out well because probably shortly after you left, the Albert closed, and now it just reopened.
I heard. I mean, she's played. Andrea has played the Albert, where I never have.
But,
So, and have you been to a show at the Albert so far?
No, it's opening Friday. Oh. They had a like a soft opening that was the invite only. I didn't get invited, but
you're there Friday.
Well, us Winnipeggers will be back in July. Maybe we'll go.
Oh yeah, we're coming back for a little visit.
Cool. Is there a language barrier when you're in? I mean, you're singing English, right?
Yes. Yeah. Incidentally, the French girl's writing most of the lyrics
in English.
Yeah. I try to figure out what she's saying. Oh, and you too. Yeah. He has a song. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. I mean, I realize obviously, in a lot of European countries, people speak multiple languages, so it's not so much of an issue. But I mean, is being an English language band in Germany is it a thing? Like,
Oh yeah, for sure. At least in Berlin.
I think a lot of bands actually try to sing in English because they think it's more transferable,
more international or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, most of the I know some bands, of course, from Germany, like that are friends of ours that are singing in German. They'll still have some songs in English too.
It's the same in France, most bands.
Sure.
In this scene, this kind of music.
We have one song where Stephanie and I are doing both of the lead vocals, kind of spoken word over top of each other. And she's speaking in French.
Okay.
I'm speaking in English.
But it's not. It has never been like a stopped you from playing a show or anything.
No,
that's good.
No, I mean it's mostly they don't know what we're saying, but usually you can't understand in live shows what people are saying anyways.
Right.
And between the three of us, I mean, for booking and all of this interaction, I mean, we all speak English, German, and French.
Right. So there's enough language knowledge there. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's I mean, because here you have bands that speak English and French often, but adding the German factor in there is just like an extra.
For sure, just throw in
extra level, yeah.
You got to speak. We played in Montreal. You got to drop some French in there, Stephanie.
It's harder for me to speak in French in public.
It's true. She was more self-conscious.
Oh yeah. Have you noticed the difference between the French here and the France? Because it's weird. We speak like hillbillies, right? Like we have just the hick accent.
It's the original French. That's what they say.
Yeah. It's pretty weird, yeah. Because I mean, I remember hearing people coming from France and speaking French when I was a kid and stuff, and we were learning French in school, and it was drastically different.
And it's like,
we sound really lame.
But I also thought that people here think that our accent is weird.
Yeah, because we're used to hearing,
I think you sound like a hillbilly.
So there's a show you're doing tomorrow.
Yes.
In Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Is this the first time?
Yes.
Okay.
It's very exciting. So it's going to be the Handsome Daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. And
did you know what to expect at all? Do you have any idea?
Actually, no. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to have a nice turnout. At least my parents are going to be there. Your parents, Andrea's parents are going to be there. My Uncle Dan's coming out. Shout out.
So you have at least a handful of people there.
At least, yeah. There's going to be somebody there.
But like you mentioned, though, Art's been promoting it pretty heavily. I've seen a lot of
it, and we're playing with two great local bands that are good friends that I think will bring people out. I think it's going to be a pretty good show.
I think it's going to be one of the most exciting shows.
And for us,
a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Also really nerve-wracking at the same time. When you play in front of a crowd of people you don't know, it's like,
easier.
Yeah.
Well, this is people you haven't seen in 15 years too, right?
This is also even, oh my goodness.
Who else is playing on the bill?
The Sorrells.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
So Jill's on drums in that band, and we played in our first band ever together.
Okay. What band was that?
15 years ago. Buried in the Backyard.
Oh, okay. That sounds. I actually remember the name.
Buried.
Our
Canadian buried instead of buried.
Yeah.
Buried in the park.
Our claim to fame is that we opened for Dead Moon.
Okay.
At the Pyramid.
That's actually pretty cool. Yeah.
And both me and the bass player were underage.
Nice.
And then we're also playing with the the Agapito band.
Agapito.
Sorry.
Yeah. Agapito is great band. Yeah.
Not to be confused with the Jim Agapito Rock and Roll Experience.
Yes. It basically is the Jim Agapito.
Yeah, we were actually told that. She was told as a joke that was the band name, and then they started to put it on all the announcements.
Nice.
And so I think Jim Agapito.
we had to take it off.
Yeah, it's like, can you please change that? Yeah.
Fit this band name on their place.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Experience.
Well, the band's already named after him. You might as well add that
Just
extra.
throw it in. Yeah. Go for it. Right?
Yeah. No, that's cool. I think it. That's a good lineup. And I can see that. Obviously you don't all sound the same, but there's definitely similarities in what I've heard of your stuff and the energy.
It's nice to have variety. Sometimes it's a little too off, and it's like, whoa, this concert is frenetic. But I think this will work for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And if you probably haven't been to the venue yet, right? Since
I haven't been. Oh no, I was at the Handsome Daughter.
Okay.
I think I was back visiting at Christmas in 2015.
Okay.
So I was there. It was Eddie's Garage for years.
Yeah.
I was still living
changed
here.
names multiple times. Yeah.
But I have been since it's been the Handsome Daughter.
Okay.
I heard the food's good, actually.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I've never actually eaten there. I've been to shows, but I haven't eaten. But
go get a burger there, Stephanie. Yeah. She's going burger shopping everywhere.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess for you two, what has your experience been? Had either of you been to Canada before?
Well,
no.
I mean, that's my first time.
Okay.
Yeah, I was only Montreal and Toronto, but very shortly.
So what is your experience been like now that you've been here?
So far,
tell us.
a lot of driving.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Nice first.
Yeah.
Nice forest, nice lakes.
Yeah.
We saw moose.
Oh yeah.
we did. We saw two moose.
Nice.
Babies.
But you said two moose or two mooses, not two moose?
Mises. No, I'm joking.
It's very nice. And in the end, wherever you play around the world, it's always the same feeling. Hospitable and we play through cities where there were not necessarily a lot of people, but everybody was so nice. And it feels like home.
Yeah.
It's like Berlin, Prague, everywhere we play.
Well, that's often better than a large crowd, right? If you have a small crowd that's really passionate about it, you get the same vibes.
It's always way worth for sure.
Yeah, cool.
And we'll be driving from, like I said, Winnipeg to Vancouver is like driving from Berlin to the southern tip of Portugal. So it's like we're in the same country the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's cool for them.
play Sled Island.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It's big. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
How did you get that? Was that?
We applied and then harassed. Really harassed.
Yeah.
And then finally the guy's like, hey, just stop it. No. And then we got a response that they were excited and they were going to write to us eventually. And so, but they told us early, which was also helpful because then we knew when we got that, we could plan this big trip over here. Because if we weren't going to get that, it was a little challenge.
Yeah, it's dicey, right? Yeah.
So that was kind of sealed the deal for us. And we're like, yes, we're going to Canada.
That's cool,
Yeah, so we're thrilled about that. We're playing 2 shows there, actually. Yeah, they booked us for 2. Yeah.
This might be kind of a weird question, but do as a German band, despite the international flavor here, do you have people coming to shows like in Canada from the German community, being like, "Oh, cool, a band from Berlin," and then finding out that you're
being like totally we get booked as a German
right,
band
and that's how you're being advertised, right?
Yeah, Jim Tonic from Berlin.
Yeah.
So occasionally they are like, "Yeah, your English is really good," or just or your English, your German is terrible. No.
Tried to speak German to us, no?
Oh, I spoke German with somebody in Montreal. He was thrilled, and my German was better than his, so it was fine. He wasn't German, but he could speak German.
Yeah. So he probably assumed you guys were all native-born Germans.
Yeah, so we do, and even we get when we're from Berlin and we play in other German cities. They're often like, "But I thought you were from Berlin."
Yeah.
Like that was a terrible German impression, by the way.
That sounded like a...
why are you from Berlin? Yeah, what is that?
It doesn't sound German. It's something else.
I guess we don't consider ourselves a German band. Like we're really just like a Canadian French band living in Berlin.
We are a Berlin band, and we kind of
Well, that's where you're coming from.
Our album's produced there. We live there.
Yeah.
We've performed there.
In a way.
Oh, is it like a separate? Does it feel separate?
It feels like an island.
Okay. Well, I feel like almost using, this is from a ignorant Canadian perspective, but using synthesizers and having costumes and stuff does come acroross as almost very German, right?
Like German, totally. And we have these like robot costumes that's going in the Kraftwerk kind of.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
No, definitely. You actually embrace the German.
Yeah, you might be more German than you think you are.
We're hamming it up with that for sure.
Yeah.
And we have a song that has a German title, Machine and Mensch.
Yeah, we have one.
Yeah.
Which also sounds like could be like
Which
Kraftwerk.
is a Kraftwerk album. It's called Machine and Mensch. Actually, we're very original.
In German?
Machine and Mensch. It is called, the album is called
Machine Man.
Oh, Machine and Man.
Yeah, it's in
okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Same
thing, yeah. So, okay, the show again, what are the details of the show? When can people, I'm assuming tickets to the door, or?
Andrea, you have great details about this.
Yeah, because, so you can still buy tickets in advance. It's on the Facebook event. Okay. Otherwise, you can buy them at the door. Door is 10, I believe, and the first band is going to go on shortly after at 10:20.
Okay.
So don't be late.
Don't be late, because there's a comedy night going on earlier, just to warn people.
Right, so they wander in and there's jokes.
Jokes, that's not us.
Yeah.
I mean, we some comedy.
We try to be funny.
And so if people are hearing about you for the first time, again, because you're coming from Germany, like, where do they find your music? What's the best way to kind of hear and find out when your next shows are while you're on tour?
We're on Facebook and Instagram. We have a Bandcamp out that has our full album that can be downloaded digitally.
Spotify.
We're on Spotify.
Apple
also.
Music.
We have
everything.
Jim, the name that we chose, you will find if you do Google us, you will come up with a lot of like aerobic studios.
I did that today, and I was just to look up a couple more things.
And even like mixes, like on Spotify, there are like aerobic mixes called Jim Tonic.
So like workout,
you might think some of them are. Some of them sound pretty good actually. So.
You might end up on one of those lists.
Yeah, right.
Actually, we had a problem with our Spotify for a while. I think it is still mixed with another aerobic mix.
So we're good to work out too.
Sweat it out. Or what is the title?
Sweat into the oldies.
That would be great.
I guess the best place to do it is buy an album at the show, though, right? That's kind of what you're.
We have the records with us. If you're coming out and you're interested, we also have CDs, and and we're very happy about everything to do with our record. We're excited about the artwork, which is a good friend of ours who's from Germany. Yeah, a German did the artwork.
Okay,
so there's that flavor.
It's really good.
Cool.
Fuzz Gun. Yeah, and I'm I'm excited.
Well, you seem excited all.
Yeah. I can't stop squirming. You can't see that, but
no, you can hear it though. Maybe you can hear the chair moving or something.
Exactly. That's me.
When we started booking the tour 6 months ago, the first few nights when we were like sending emails and booking it, I couldn't sleep. I was so excited.
Oh, really?
And it was like, okay, it's 6 months. Calm down.
Is that more so than you're excited for other tours? Like, is it because you're coming back here? Or?
Yeah.
It's special.
This one.
Yeah.
Even for us.
Yeah.
It's all like it's excitement because it's also nerve. Like it's like, oh God, are we doing this? This is real.
Yeah.
It's a big commitment.
Yeah.
First time we're on the plane.
Yeah, but so far it's been great.
Is it difficult getting all of you here, just with different passports and stuff? I mean,
they didn't have too much problem.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, even going through custom was so much nicer than in the States, I guess.
Yeah, well, the States is a different thing entirely. I think.
Canada is amazing.
Yeah.
They really want to promote musicians.
Yeah, cool.
Even had this mail from Scale Island with all the stuff that you sent me.
Yes, that island organized
Oh, that's cool. That helps, right?
Yeah. That was also, they took care of that for us.
Yeah, you don't need a visa also.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
It's very different.
Did you for a while in Canada?
I think you did. I think you did at one point,
I think that they changed it again, which is so much better.
Yeah. And then I guess for the Winnipeggers, do you get to stay at home, with parents and stuff? That's kind of awesome, yeah. And are you...
We got them a hostel. No, the French people are staying with me and my folks over on Ashburn Street. Yeah.
We drove a van for us from Winnipeg to Toronto.
Oh, wow.
And Andrew's in Wolseley, and you're also from Wolseley.
I am from Wolseley,
Are you living in Wolseley now?
No, I'm in St. James now. No, it's just fine.
St. James now, okay.
Yeah. I wish I still lived in Wolseley. Wolseley,
it's beautiful.
The prices have gone up quite a bit in Wolseley for houses.
Yeah. My parents are on the other side, and I think that's all already kind of happening now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's Winnipeg, though.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're back and excited to play here, because I think that always helps too, right? Even regardless of what the turnout is, the response, if you guys seem pumped on stage, it's gonna come across, I think. So that's awesome. Yeah. So so CDs and records are available at the show.
T-shirts.
T-shirts.
Yeah. Not too many varieties of sizes anymore. So be prepared.
Well, and then what happens when you get back to Germany? Is it do you start working on a new record or more tours in Europe? Or?
Well,
I think so.
Yeah, we have one show for sure in Berlin when we get back, like 10 days.
On a boat?
On a boat?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Which is the river in Berlin.
Fun. That's one fun thing we have in Germany, but
we need to plan, I think the next would be to plan a tour in France, kind of promoting it on the French label side of it.
Right.
Because,
when you get the chance to be at home, too, right?
Also,
take their spots, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll see. Like, we've had a lot of, 6 months this year of, planning.
Yeah.
It's been really good planning. But maybe, we'll have a tiny...
Take a break.
Right.
And I think we're starting to work towards putting out an EP.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got some new songs that we're already playing in our set that aren't on the album, so or we'll just break up, I don't know.
Do the new songs... I like asking people this because a lot of the time when someone releases an album, they've been working on those songs for a significant amount of time. By the time it actually comes out, they're done with them, or they don't feel like it sounds like what they sound like now. Are you at that point, or are the old songs still kind of actively what you're?
There are some songs on the record that we don't play.
We have some that we don't play anymore, and we're kind of forget that song, double digits. But for the most part, and I think because we've been just so busy and we haven't been writing so many songs, so that would be nice to come back and write songs.
Important thing to stop, because we put all our energy in actually preparing things.
Yeah, sure.
Planning, and it would be nice to write more songs.
But there's definitely a couple of songs on the album that are we still love playing, and
cool.
A couple more.
Is there have you noticed a progression with the newer stuff too? Is that something, anything changed significantly in terms of the sound, or are you still sort of in the same?
The last song is a little different from the rest. We play it actually.
Okay.
It's in our set.
Cool.
But we need to be a bit more active in the practice room and not so much on our computers.
It's true. We need to practice more.
I think everybody needs to practice more. Yeah.
And we've been touring, so we've been on stage.
Well, that is practice, right? You're getting practice in every night.
Yeah, and it's not like we're the Rolling Stones and we're playing these songs for 40 years.
Right.
They're still quite fresh.
Right. I imagine if you keep doing this for 40 years, you have to get a lot of costumes. So.
Oh, wow. Well, our costumes right now have a nice stink, and then we can't get out.
Oh, right on.
We're going to probably need 40 years.
To switch them up,
40 years in the making and the brewing.
Yeah. Okay, so one last time the show details, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. So
tomorrow night, Thursday, doors at 10, first band at 10:20. Come early.
At
the Handsome Daughter. And we're playing with the Sorrells and the Agapito Band.
And the Handsome Daughters are in Sherbrooke.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so exciting.
And ticket prices are?
$10 in advance, $15 at the door. You can buy advance tickets through Show Pass.
Okay. And then or at the door, obviously, which you just said. So I don't know why I repeated it. If you want to hear more episodes of this show, go to witchpolice.com. All 390 whatever episodes are there for download and streaming. You can also tune in on Sunday nights at midnight on UMFM 101.5, but those are old episodes that kind of get a boost. So by the time this actually airs, it'll be a few months down the road on the radio.
On the radio.
Yeah, and then the show will be already done, but people can go check out your music still
Awesome.
from there. So it's kind of an extra bonus.
Us out.
Yeah. So thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks for meeting me in this food court.
Thank you, Sam.
Right on.